everybody. It's Tanya here with Stream Like a Boss TV and Get Noticed with Video. And we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook Live. I know I did a little something different tonight in a couple of different ways. First and foremost, let me apologize because it looks like our broadcast is scheduled for 15 minutes from now, but usually I go live at the top of the hour. So, not exactly sure what happened, but I'm sure it was user error. So just know if it happens to me, it could possibly happen for you and you'll still be okay. You'll survive. It's okay. Anyway, so we're here tonight to talk a little bit about how to stand out on Facebook Live. If you're here in the comments, I want you to go ahead and just share where you're from. If you are new to watching me stream, if you haven't been here with us each and every week, I want you to go ahead and put hashtag newbie. If you have been, or you're part of our Stream Like a Boss community, or you're one of our stream bosses in the academy, I want you to go ahead and put hashtag OG, because we've been here and been doing live streaming for some time now, for at least, I think it's going on 2 years, maybe a little longer now. I'm not sure. But one of the things that I absolutely love to do is to simply get on live and to talk to you about tips to help you, especially if you're a service provider, but tips to help you to be able to really leverage live streaming so that you can serve more people, stand out online, and sell more of your services. And so that's really what we want to focus on, and why I wanted to talk about this topic. In reality, I had a different topic I wanted to talk about, but when I did a little research, I discovered that this would be a little bit more engaging and something that the audience that I talk to might be interested in. And that's going to lead us into one of our first of 3 tips that I'll share just in a few minutes. So before I get started, let me just double check and see who's here. I see a couple of folks that are here and that are watching. Feel free to say hello. I need to test and make sure that my comment section is working anyway. So I'd love to know where you're from. I'm broadcasting in a couple of different places, and I love to tell you where I'm broadcasting from. So let me do this. I am actually right now leveraging Restream, which is a multi-streaming platform, but I'm using Ecamm Live as my actual camera. So it's connected or integrated with Restream so that I can broadcast to multiple places at once. So right now I'm broadcasting on YouTube, LinkedIn, multiple spaces in Facebook, and I think I'm also broadcasting on Twitter too. So hello from wherever you are. I do see some folks there, but no comments just yet. Okay, so let's dive into what I want to talk about and really just look at tonight as more conversational than anything. But I do have some message points I definitely want to share for you too. Hey, Mr. Orlando Haynes in the house. I see you there. Let me see if I can add you to the broadcast and just wave a little bit there from Tampa, Florida. Awesome. Look, I grew up in Florida. I went to Florida State University, and I, prior to going to college, actually lived in Tallahassee for a short bit. But northern panhandle of Florida is pretty much where I like to say I'm from. And then I also see someone here from our one of our OGs from our group. So good to see you. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to add the invite link. So I'm going to figure that out for next time, but I do see you there. So somebody from my group, and here's what I see. And I see Miss Michelle O'Neill. Hey, lady, another OG in the house. And Miss Myra Smith Fry from Northeast Texas. So you're from my neck of the woods and watching from LinkedIn. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So a few folks that are coming on board, thank you so much for letting me know where you're from and that you're here so that I can actually see you in the comments. Marcia, good to see you too. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's dive in. And I decided to broadcast using Ecamm Live because I wanted to share a couple of really quick things. A lot of folks who are in my community, you know, I like to experiment. And part of the reason I like to do that is so that you can also see what's possible as it relates to live. Yes, yes, Northern VA in the house. Awesome. Yes. Okay. And Miss Irene, good to see you too. So let me do this. I'm going to switch up a couple of things real quick and I'll show you what the power of Ecamm Live can do. Okay. Now, most of us are using different platforms because I've taught over the years to simplify as much as possible. And so when I talk about this topic of using Facebook Live, really the thing that I want to stress to you, especially if you're new to the space, if you're new to live streaming, is that it's so important to really focus on your content. And that's really going to be my tip number one, which we'll get to in a second. But focus on what you're talking about, and that's going to differentiate you more than anything else will as it relates to Facebook. Don't worry so much about having all the gadgets and all the gear. Again, the reason why I kind of do this and switch it up a little bit for you is so that you can see what is possible, right? So right now I'm actually broadcasting using a couple of different cameras. This is one of the items that I think I like the most about Ecamm Live is the versatility, is that you get to be able to switch your cameras with ease. You can add things like applause. You can add sound effects without having to have a bunch of extra gear. There are so many different windows that I have open right now. And again, if you're new, you're not going to want to do something or use a platform like this without getting some significant training because there is a learning curve. But if you're using a streaming platform like StreamYard or the Melon app or Restream, those are really going to be your best bet to get started if you're using Facebook Live. And I want to talk a little bit about why that makes sense, but I also want to answer your questions. So I do see a few questions that are showing up in here. First of all, I see a comment that says, "So cool." I know, isn't it? It's pretty neat. And here's what I'll do. I'm going to switch over to comments so that you can actually see a different screen. This also is something that you can do inside of Ecamm that is a little bit more difficult to do in some of the other streaming platforms. Now, Restream does allow you to have kind of a flowing comments sidebar, if you will, sort of like what you see right now. Miss Myra Smith Fry. So if you're using Ecamm for Macs, what I recommend for PCs is going to be either StreamYard, which a lot of people love, um, or Restream, Restream, or my latest favorite, honestly, is the Melon app. Melonapp.com, I think is what it is. And I actually have affiliate links. If anybody needs those or wants those, let me know and I'll share them with you. But the reason for each of those being, I guess, my favorites, especially for newbies starting out with streaming, is because they're much easier to learn how to use. A lot of the bells and whistles, you just turn on a switch and you turn off the switch. Whereas with what I'm using right now with Ecamm, you definitely have the versatility, but you're going to need to go out and have someone create graphics, or you can create them yourself. You're going to need to learn all the different overlays that are available. Look, I'll show you one real quick here. What's up, stream bosses? So you can mix it up and have different looks, which is excellent. But again, that's not really what we're here to talk about. But of course, I'm talking about streaming. And as I see your comments, I want to kind of address some of those. But yeah, you can do a lot of different things with this. But let me talk a little bit about why Facebook first. And then I'm going to share, and this is especially for those of you who have put hashtag newbie in the comments, I want to make sure to share some things that you can do if you want to quickly and easily stand out. So first and foremost, I'm going to say this, that Facebook has an easier learning curve. If you're starting to stream, trying to figure out how to build an audience on YouTube, first of all, it's going to take a significant amount of time to do, okay? I mean, it's just a fact. It's not that it's a bad thing, and as a matter of fact, it's a really good thing to build a presence on YouTube. I wish I had started sooner and had done my multi-streaming much sooner versus just focusing on Facebook Live, to be honest, because I probably would have been further along on YouTube. But some of the reasons why YouTube is a really good space to spend time and to create your live stream series is that It's more of a search engine. I mean, think about the connection to Google, right? And as people are looking for information, if they're looking for how to's, they're probably going to find you on your YouTube channel. But again, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes time, and probably you need to have someone really hold your hand. There are different courses and workshops, and there's certain people I trust. If you need someone, a trusted person that can teach you how to really build out your YouTube, there are a few names that I trust that really are excellent in that space. But the reason why I started in Facebook and why I still to this day share with my coaches, consultants, and course creators that tend to be in my audience that Facebook is where to start is because I got real on you real quick. I love it. The reason why I love, I'll share with you that Facebook is the spot for you to start is because I know that some folks are saying that people are leaving, but honestly, the numbers just aren't saying that people are leaving in droves. Now, maybe in your personal community. So here's one of the things that I would challenge you to do. And I did this myself because I kept hearing it. And you know how you hear things and people have opinions, but opinions do not equal facts. Let me say that again. Opinions do not equal facts. They just don't. So what I did is I actually put out I kind of did like a little miniature poll, if you will, and I wanted to see like what were people saying about why they stayed on Facebook. So I checked in with my own audience and I asked them why. Why are you here? Why do you stay? Why have you decided not to leave? And what I heard a lot of people saying is that that is how they met or stayed in touch with connections that they made over the years. Now, I've been around for a long time. I could age myself really quickly if I shared how long, but let's just say I have connections from a military standpoint. I have connections from college. I have connections with my sorority. I have connections with other moms, with soccer, with traveling across the country and across overseas. There are all these different connections and people that I've met over time. And to be honest with you, the majority of the people that I've met on Facebook, and some of them I haven't even met ever in person, we are really tight. Like we have a really nice bond, and there's relationship and there's conversations, and it can be casual or it can be business or it can sometimes be politics or some other things, right? Whereas when you think about those type of conversations that you can have in Facebook, you're not always going to have those type of connections and conversations in other spaces. YouTube, for instance, doesn't really allow you that space for conversation. So what I see people doing is they may create a YouTube channel, which again, not knocking it because I think that's a smart thing to do. But they create that YouTube channel and then they end up having to create still a Facebook group or some other space for community. So I think we have to be conscientious about the fact that we need to examine what our purpose is for doing the lives. Why are you wanting to do a streaming show or a streaming series? That is a question, right? That is something that you need to decide and determine what makes the most sense. Yes, I love it. Yep. And Teresa's checking it out on YouTube and seeing the difference. Yes, that there is a difference in quality too. Now, quick tip in case you didn't know this. On Facebook Live, the maximum for most people as far as quality and pixels is going to be 720. Whereas on YouTube, if you're broadcasting like I am in 1080p HD, then you can get the full 1080, right? Or higher, depending on what your camera quality is and what you've been given approval to do. But 1080 is going to be a nicer quality than the 720. So one thing I know I've heard some folks say is, why is it that the quality is so much better elsewhere, and why should I broadcast on Facebook Live? Well, again, it depends on where your people are. And so if your audience is staying in Facebook, if that's where they're hanging out, and if that's the group of people who you want to target to be your potential clients, then you need to broadcast in Facebook. And what I want to hear or see you do is, if you know exactly where your target audience is right now, if you know they're in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or wherever that is, what's the number one space where you know your audience, your ideal audience that you want to work with, where are they playing? Where do they hang out? And maybe it's LinkedIn. I want to see what you can. I know, I like that too. I get distracted easily with comments. Did y'all notice that? Um, I want you to put in the comments what your number one platform is. Where are your folks hanging out? And if you don't know, if I asked you that question and you're like, ooh, big old question mark, I'm not sure, squirrel. If that's you, that's something you need to find out. You got to figure out where your people are. Now, I know a lot of people say, hey, well, my folks are on LinkedIn, and I'm actually broadcasting in LinkedIn right now as well. Well, one of the things you have to really kind of examine is, there's a couple of things. One, do you have permission yet? Do you have authorization to actually broadcast live in LinkedIn? Because there is an approval process, there's a gateway, if you will, for LinkedIn live. So you have to go through the permission process to get approval. So you need to start somewhere so that they can see you actually have a video presence and that you're going to broadcast quality content, all of that, right? That, I think, can help you with your chances of getting approved on the LinkedIn space. So why not start as a test in Facebook Live? Another thing I've seen people do is really kind of leverage Facebook, because in fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me share screen with you. Yes, Miss Epic Shay, good to see you. And Epic Shay said Facebook. Now she's watching. You're watching from YouTube right now, right? But but what I love is that you said Facebook is where your people are. Hi, Miss Sandra Scott. Good to see you, lady. Great evening to you as well. Yeah, I love it. So most of the people that I have communicated with and that I've done streaming with, um, most of my audience tends to fall into the Facebook space because, again, many of them are from connections that I've made over the years. And as I did that little mini poll myself with my audience, the majority of them stay because they love the personal connection that they get to have with people. They love to be able to do the messenger chats, and they love to be able to get in the comments and say hi and, do all the things. And I love that Facebook still has kind of that ecosystem, meaning that you have the ability to be able to do the live videos, you can create groups and communities, you can have the messenger, all of those things are in a single space. Whereas with some of the other platforms, you just don't have that quite yet. Because again, LinkedIn could fall in there somewhere because they do have LinkedIn groups. But you have to get that approval first. So again, if you're starting out, and I appreciate that, Epic Shay, that you get those notifications. Thank you. Click the bell, get subscribed, follow, like, all those things. Um, if you are someone who is trying to start doing more streams, it's going to be an easier learning curve for you to really get started on something like a Facebook Live or even Instagram. Now, with our last Let's Go Live challenge, I had a couple of our newbies that actually did streaming on Instagram, which was really cool because we talked about how to really leverage Instagram, especially now that you can schedule your streams, right? And people can get alerts. And a lot of people are enjoying and appreciating that's a little bit more lighthearted on Instagram. And if you really started getting into reels, reels tend to do better on Instagram still, even though I know Facebook is pushing reels, they still do better on Instagram, at least from my personal experience and from the people that I'm hearing from. So I'm curious about what you think. Okay, Miss Teresa, I think your peeps are mainly on Facebook when they make shopping decisions. See, so it depends on you. It depends on what you're broadcasting. It depends on who your audience is, the target audience of people that you want to provide services to. All of those things can matter. Yeah. So a lot of the folks that are in my space tend to be in the Facebook area. Good evening, Miss Jacqueline. It's good to see you there too. A lot of the ladies and the men too that I've met over the years that I've really kind of bonded with and had connection with tend to be in this space. It just is what it is. Now I'm going to show you a couple of statistics because some of you might still be like, I don't know. I don't know if she's saying the truth. So let me share with you. I did end up pulling up some stats that I'll show you real quick. So I actually pulled up a couple of different articles. I wanted to make sure that they were 2022. This one is talking about as of May 3rd, 2022, it's going to share some statistics on bloggingwizard.com. There are some other articles too, but I did find that some of the stats from this article were also showing up in other articles as well. So I'm going to pull a couple of them that I think were interesting that still, again, support the idea that, especially if you're starting out with live video, this might be a good space. Facebook Live has shown significant and consistent growth since the feature was rolled out. In 2021 alone, the number of live videos on Facebook increased by 50%. So it is still a huge player in the live streaming market. Okay. So that's one thing. Another one I wanted to share with you. There's so many in here. We're not even going to go backwards into 2020 because we know with the pandemic and with, I should have said, with the P word, that there were some reasons why people were at home and on a live stream a lot more, right? Let's see what else. I think this one is interesting. Searches for Facebook live stream have increased by 330% since Facebook Live's inception. So that's a huge number. We're talking about rapid growth and popularity. A couple of other ones in terms of engagement. Facebook Live videos drive around 3 times more engagement than traditional videos. So when you start thinking about some of these statistics and you start looking at what the possibilities are, there's potential for a lot more eyes to be on your live videos than just on videos that you're uploading, and then just on your regular text and written copy, right? And even images. So if you are playing in the Facebook space, you really need to be considering, how do I really start leveraging Facebook Live? Well, one of the ways, of course, is to be part of our Stream Bosses community. But we've shut down for the month of May while we're doing some revisions and some hacks to the space, which are going to be amazing. When we open up back in June, you'll see more about that. Okay, but I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that that was really interesting. And the other thing I wanted to share with you as far as Facebook, there's 3 things, there's 3 tips, because I want to share with you what I came here for, which is, okay, I'm convinced I'm going to do some Facebook Live, but how do I stand out? And I think it's probably easier than you think to stand out, but I'm going to share with you 3 very practical strategies because I can't help but share practical. That's who I am. I want to give you something that you can actually see as actionable and that you can do right away. So let's talk about some practical strategies. Let's do this thing. The first strategy I want to share with you, and I'm trying to find my little notes. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's do this because this is so much fun. I'm loving all the stuff I get to play with. I'm going to share my mind mapping tool. This is something that I like to do when I actually work with my private clients and with the ladies in Stream Bosses Academy, you know, too. Um, I love the idea of being able to do mind maps. Like, let me tell y'all who introduced me to mind maps. I'm going to put him out there on Front Street. Bob Sparkins, Bob the teacher, who is now one of the leaders in Lead Pages. But Bob and I go way back, and he turned on my mind to using mind maps many, many, many years ago. And I promise you, I have never stopped using them because I love how they help you to organize your thoughts. So I'm going to organize my thoughts and actually talk to you about these 3 tips by using a mind map. Let me see which screen I'm going to use because I'm playing around here. This is like Christmas. This is Christmas for me, being able to do screen share like this. Okay. So I did start this map, and here's what I'm going to do. We talked a little bit about pros and cons, but I'm going to just drive those out a little bit more. How about that? Okay. And we'll blow this up a little so that you can really see it, maybe to 150%. All right. So, pros and cons. When you think about using Facebook, I've already talked a little bit about some of the pros and cons, but first and foremost, the pros are that you actually get a chance to really leverage all of the things. Like you have this whole combo of community building, so you can do the groups. You have the chat capability. Let me go back in there. You have the ability to be able to do your lives directly inside of your group or in your Facebook page, or there's all these different options. So there's lots of possibilities, right? Some of the cons, what as it relates to Facebook, I'm curious about what you see as cons. So if you see some things that you think are kind of like a disadvantage to doing Facebook Live, put that in the chat because I'm curious to see what you say. I would say that some of the cons would be I feel like YouTube is better for search. So I'm going to say not as lucrative as it relates to search. Now, there are some things that you could do nowadays that you couldn't do previously. And one of the things is that you have the ability to be able to use more hashtags and they actually matter now. Whereas a couple years ago, they didn't matter much on Facebook, but now your hashtags are more searchable. Um, the other thing that I think is something to kind of watch for, and this is a con, is that you can get caught up. Like you can go down the rabbit hole. So I'm going to just type rabbit hole. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there are so many conversations taking place on Facebook that you can be watching somebody's live and then get pinged about another post or a group, and then you can end up in that space instead of where you started, right? This is one of the reasons why I did a reel not that long ago where I talked about how you can save and bookmark. So if anybody has questions on that, let me know. But how you can save and bookmark different posts in Facebook. The other thing I suggested, I did another reel where I talked about having a timer because you can really go down the rabbit hole. So I think that's kind of a con in that people can get distracted, right? So I'm going to say distractions. Okay. Um, the other pro, let me give another pro and then we'll dive into those three tips. Another pro to using Facebook is the ease of learning. Okay. So it is very user friendly. You have lots of different options. It is easy to learn because you literally could use their native app to do your Facebook Live. And you can use a native app for YouTube as well, but you have to have a certain number of followers and subscribers before they activate certain features in YouTube. Whereas with Facebook, from day one, if you start a group or a business page or you have a profile right now in this moment, like after you get done watching this live stream I'm doing right now, you can go live. You can go live with the click of a button and simply just use your phone, your smartphone. So it's much more easy to get started. Let's see. Let's put this up here. Content may not appear on the newsfeed. Yes, that is a con. Okay, that's a really big one, as a matter of fact, Irene. So we do need to add that because this is something that I think has ticked off a lot of people as it relates to Facebook and Facebook Live too. At some point, it used to be that if you did lives, they were going to get shown because they were really promoting and pushing Facebook Lives, and they still are. But in general, the sentiment that I've heard from people is that Facebook just is not showing their content, and it's not been friendly to small businesses. And that's sad, right? Because a lot of small businesses play in this space. A lot of us invest time and invest money in ads and all kinds of energy into putting together quality content. And we want that stuff to be seen. So, not getting your content seen, that could be, yeah, a con. Sure could. Yes. And Miss Sandra says, I need to set a timer. Yes, I know, girl, because it can get distracting to be on Facebook. It really can. So look at her comment there. I need to set a timer. My goal is to be on 15 to 20 minutes, but I keep hitting 30. I know that can be a con that we fall down the rabbit hole instead of doing the things we said we were going to do, right? Or watching the live streams of the people that we want to watch. Now, if we want to do a workaround, my tip number 2 will help with that. So I'm going to go back to my screen share and let me share the tips with you because you're like, get to the tips, doggone it. All right, so here we go. Tip number 1 is talk about something relevant, okay? So if you want to stand out, if you've been convinced and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to do Facebook Live. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to put my toe in the water and see what happens." The first thing that's going to make it really simple for you to stand out is to talk about a topic that matters. Now, who it matters to is the question, right? Let me talk a little bit about this so that you really kind of understand what I mean when I say that. When I'm saying talk about a topic that matters, what I mean is that you really need to, if you just go and you look right now in your Facebook, you're going to see people talking about a whole lot of stuff. So this goes back to earlier when I mentioned that you want to get clear on who your audience is. And I say this all the time. So the stream bosses know what I'm about to say is you need to understand who you're talking to. You need to know who your ideal viewer is. I like to call them your MV3, your most valuable video viewer. Who is that? What are their demographics? What are they seeking a solution for? And how are you gifted to be able to provide that solution to the problems that they're facing? Now, this does not mean that it's every problem that they ever had because people have a variety of problems. But is there a specific problem that you can provide solutions for? That's the question. And that's where you have to start. So when I say talk about a topic that matters, it needs to matter to them, to that person or those persons that you're trying to speak to. But you got to know who they are, right? And then as you start talking about topics that matter to them, the more you talk about that topic and dive deeper into that topic, the more content you'll have and the more likely they'll be coming back to watch your Facebook live streams, right? Now, if you're all over the place and you're talking about everything under the sun, kind of like a variety show, it's not typically going to be as effective on Facebook unless maybe you have kind of a TV show type of personality. Maybe you have a situation where you're doing kind of a variety show on purpose. Y'all remember the old school variety shows where they had somebody doing a dance over here and then somebody doing, other type of entertainment and then somebody talking about something serious. I mean, if that's the type of setup you have and it works, great. But typically, and for most of us as coaches and consultants and course creators, that's not the case. That's not what we're doing. We're talking about something that's leading people to a specific package or offer that we have. So the more niche you can get, the more specific you can get about what your topic is, the more you can reach the people that you're trying to reach, and the more it becomes something that matters to them. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about researching, and I'm not going to go too deep into that, but that is tip number 1 is that you need to really be talking about a topic that matters and you will stand out because there are a lot of people that simply jump on Facebook and start going. And they lose people and they wonder why. Well, it's because they haven't really thought about what they're talking about and they don't know, they haven't done the research or the homework to find out if what they're saying matters to the person on the other side of the camera. So, research and being strategic about your topics is going to be a key. Okay, so that's tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 on how you stand out, I've also talked about this. And recently within our Stream Bosses Academy, we actually talked about this at great length. And that is promote your video ahead of time. So let's type that in here so that you have it. Promote your video, promote your Facebook Live ahead of time. Now, how do you do this? And I actually learned something today, y'all, about doing this on YouTube. And I got really super excited. So I will share it with you in case you're just like, I'm not sold on Facebook. I'm still doing YouTube. That's fine. I'll share it with you in a second. But promoting your Facebook Live ahead of time, it does make a difference. And I can tell you that from experience because there are many times where I've forgotten where I forget to send the email or I haven't really put that into my system, right? I'm getting better. I'm getting better, but I can see a significant difference in those times where I've sent out an email and let people know, hey, I'm going to be live. This is what I'm going to be talking about. This is why it's of a benefit to you. And here's the time and date, right? When you give people a heads up, they're more likely to show up. So, promoting your Facebook Live ahead of time can look like a couple of things. One, it could look like email. And depending on what you're doing, I'm curious how many of you are pre scheduling your Facebook Lives now? If you are someone who is pre scheduling your live streams, I want you to type in number one. If you haven't pre scheduled and you simply just go live and hope and pray that people show up, I want you to put a zero. And it's okay to admit it because we're here to help you change the behavior so that you start getting the results you want. And literally, you can do this whether you're doing LinkedIn, YouTube, any of these spaces, you can give an advance notice. Yes, I see the numbers coming in and mostly ones so far. Yes, 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 yes. So here's the thing. This is the deal. I'm going to pop it up so that y'all can see it too. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the honesty too. Because here's the thing, when you let people know in advance, they're then going to be able to plan. I mean, think about the last time somebody said, hey, I'm having a party and it's tonight at, and today it's like 6 o'clock. My party's tonight at 7 o'clock. Be there or be square. And you're like, I already have plans. I already have something to do. Right? Same thing applies as it relates to any type of marketing you're doing. If there's an event and your Facebook live stream is an event, y'all. If it's an event, you want to give people notice in advance. So, a couple of ways you can do this is by emailing and letting your list know, even if you have a small list, if your list is engaged, you're giving them a quick alert and saying, hey, this is what time and day I'm going to be on live this week, and this is what I'm talking about. You can also create a thumbnail. And the thumbnail is the little image that represents what your video is going to be about, right? You can do that. And if you're using a third-party streaming platform like one of the ones I mentioned earlier, Restream, StreamYard, Melon, Ecamm Live, any of these, OneStream Live, there's a ton of them out there. But if you're using those type of platforms, you'll be able to promote or pre-schedule your live in advance and put, okay, today is Tuesday. I'm going live on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. You can plug that in, have your little image show up, and have a description about what it's about. And the benefit of that is that it gives people an ability to be able to go and set an alert or a reminder for themselves. Now, Miss Shay, yep, you put in there earlier. I saw that you are getting my notifications, which I'm like, whoop whoop. Let me give her a party noise on that. Love that you're doing that because that helps me to make sure not only that I'm going to reach you through the emails and those other things, but you have made a decision, a personal decision and a choice to get notifications about my lives. That makes me happy and that confirms, hopefully, that I'm sharing good content, right? And that you expect me to share good content anytime I show up. So you want people to feel that way. You want people to want to come, right? But you need to let them know when. Another thing that I've done to give people advance notice, and I've done this on my YouTube channel. I haven't done it as frequently lately on Facebook because my business page and most people who have business pages just aren't doing a lot. It's not a lot of activity taking place. But one thing you could do is create a banner, right? So that when you have your next live, it's going to show up the banner as your banner for your page, right? So it'll have your face And all you're doing is changing out the date and time for the next live and maybe even the title of what your topic's going to be. But do whatever you can and get creative to let people know ahead of time. You can sign up people to subscribe to an SMS list so that they get text alerts when you're going to go live. There's so many different ways that you can go about doing this, y'all. Get creative. Miss Sandra, I made a commitment to go live every Monday and have only missed 2 days. I love it. But made it up the next day. Yes. Love, love, love. And a banner, yes, it is a great idea because people will go to the page, and then if they don't know you and they haven't met you before, they get a chance to see, oh, she's going to be going live on these days every week. I'll come back because I want to make sure to catch her, right? But use all the different methods. Get creative and see what actually fits into your workflow, like what's simple for you to do. For me, the simpler thing is to have that email, that recurring email that goes out, but I also create a social media post that reminds people and lets them know, hey, I'm going to be going live on this time. What I've started doing, but not as consistently, is I also like to create an Instagram story. So I use that same thumbnail image and I resize it in Canva to fit the story size, the 9 by 16. And then I schedule that in Instagram stories and have, click on the little schedule sticker and put the time so it has a countdown timer that lets people know when I'm going to be going live. Even though I'm not live on Instagram Live, they can go to the link in my bio, streamlikeaboss.tv, and they're able to see me live on YouTube. So there's lots and lots of ways, but my point being, as we were talking about the tips and the ways to make sure that you go about promoting and standing out with your Facebook, let people know ahead of time. That's going to be a huge win for you. I promise you, if you start doing that, that's going to make you stand out because not most people do that. They just don't. They don't think about it or it's not part of their process. So, the third and final thing I want to share with you as far as tips is something you've seen me doing tonight. Okay. Now, I've seen people have different opinions about this, but I'm going to type this: interact and engage with your audience. I think that this is so important and so critical. If you're doing live stream, one of the benefits to doing live is that you have the ability to really be able to connect with people on a human level. You're not talking at them, you're speaking with them. That's what made it less scary for me, is realizing that when I do live streams, it's like having a conversation. It's like sitting across the coffee table, right? Coffee table. Maybe it could be sitting across the tea table if you're a tea drinker. I'm a coffee person. I don't know. If you're a coffee person, I want to put an emoji with a coffee cup in the, the feed because I want to know where my fellow coffee drinkers are. Ah, yes. And I will, I'm going to answer your question in just a second. I'm going to do that. So, yes, interacting and engaging with your audience. And this is a great point. Miss Myra Smith Fry put, doing that takes skill. It does. It takes skill, it takes time, and you will learn it and you will be more effective at doing so when you practice. As you practice and as you learn your platform that you've chosen, it's one of the things we teach in Stream Bosses Academy is to get comfortable with a specific platform so that you really, really know how that platform works. Because the more familiar you are with the platform, the easier it's going to be for you to navigate all the things. If I could show you the back end of what I'm looking at right now, some of you would be like, oh, I'm running away. Like I'm running for the hills because there's too much going on up in here. It would be like this. Let me see. Ah! But I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to simplify it and to know that it can be done more simply. Miss Susan, coffee in the house. I got a coffee drinker, fellow coffee lady. Love it. A coffee sister. So here's the thing. Okay, so interacting and engaging, yes, it requires some skill. It also requires that you have familiarity with your platform. it requires that you practice. Like you're going to have to not just say, hey, I'm going to go live today and hope that it works out, but you're going to have to be willing to put in the time that it takes to practice. And some of that means just getting yourself on camera in spite of your fears and doing it anyway and learning how to be better and how to improve. This is what we do. This is how we get better is we do more lives so that we can get better, right? It's just like with anything else. It takes practice so that you can be better at it. The other thing you can consider if you're still that person who's like, wait, there's too many things going on. I'm trying to interact and engage. I'm falling apart because it's too much. If that is you, and you have someone that you can outsource moderation, so you can have moderators that help you with your live streams and they're helping to engage people in the comments section and they're addressing different questions. Someone who I absolutely love, Paul Duncan, over in the Ecamm Live community. He is amazing at being a moderator. Oh my God. So what he does is he always slips into the comments and says, hey, if you've got a question for Tanya or for whoever it is that's doing lives, usually the Ecamm Live facilitators, he'll say, add a Q and a colon before it so that it's easy to identify. The other thing that does if you're using an app like Ecamm Live, like we're using tonight, is I literally can go and do a search real quick and just pull up all the questions. If you're putting a Q with a colon next to it, I can look up Q colon, right? And find everyone's question pretty easily. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, okay. I love what you just said here. I see some other coffee drinkers, Miss Virginia, Virginia's Healthy Lifestyle, and Michelle. Yes, yes, yes. And I love that you said this. I will be better. Because look, you can fall into the trap and be like, I suck at that. Right? I have fallen into the trap of saying that about a number of things. But what we're going to tell ourselves, we're going to reframe that and we're going to say, even if I'm not great at managing comments and managing engagement and interaction now, I am going to be great. I'm willing to do the work that it takes. I'm committed to being a stream boss. I'm committed to improving my skills at doing live streams so that I can really reach the people that I want to serve. When you put that out there and you're committed and you're affirming that this is possible for you, it will happen. I promise you. Ugh, yes. I'm going to put some comments up on screen because I'm loving this interaction right here. Let me do this too and move this over a little bit so that we can get the full comments. There we go. There's some new ones. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. I got your emails. I love this, Virginia. I get your emails and I'm always happy to get them, but time does not always allow me. But here's what it does, Virginia, which I love that you said this. You're looking for those email alerts. So even if you miss me live, you know that I went live at that time. So you can go back and find that link that I've included in the email and watch the replay. The beauty of letting people know, right? The beauty of using Facebook in such a way that you're going to stand out from the people who are not taking the time to do these things. Man, I'm telling y'all, it's magical. It's something that you can do. It is possible. You just need to take the time to learn it or just listen. Come watch my live streams every week so I can give you these tips. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Miss Myra Smith Fry. Here's something I want to pop this up and really kind of highlight this. She said, I feel more comfortable and in control on Zoom, and she's learning how to take that live. Absolutely. Now, Zoom, you can actually use Zoom with Ecamm. Ecamm, what I'm using right now, I'm loving that I have the ability to be able to broadcast what's called a virtual cam through Ecamm into Zoom. So, like when I do conferences and summits and I do virtual speaking engagements, which it seems like I'm getting hit with a lot of those lately, when I get to do them, I get to be all fancy. If the idea is we want to stand out, then we do things, we learn the tools and we learn the tricks of the trade and the strategies to be able to really stand out and differentiate ourselves. So I love being able to do this with these tools that I've learned since I've started live streaming, and I want to teach this, how to do this practically to you. So keep coming back, stay subscribed, stay tuned. Yes, working on getting gooder and gooder, Michelle. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, yes, we're going to continue to just focus on getting better. I, Look, I didn't say this, Miss Myra Smith Fry. In fact, Marcia and Michelle, my OGs, they're going to be like mad at me, trying to make me consider getting a Mac. Look, Ecamm is only available on a Mac computer right now. And that is one of the reasons why I switched to Mac last year, y'all. I had a PC forever and I still love my PC, but I ended up switching to the ecosystem that is Apple. And it does give you, again, a lot of versatility as it relates to doing your live streams. You can do so much. You've kind of seen some examples of different things that I've done here. Even if I wanted to show you something on my iPhone, I could do that very easily. Um, Wait, I think everyone should get a Mac. There's two opposing comments. Watch this. So, Javaka Melvin, my girl, and then Michelle. I rebuke the Apple. She does not like Apple. Jay is an Apple fan. Yeah, we got people on both sides of the fence, y'all. If you're an Apple fan, I want you to type in or put an emoji with an apple. If you're an Android fan, just put a green dot because there's not an Android emoji. I'm just being silly. Okay. All right, y'all. So, look, let me go back through really quickly our recap. Here's the things. Teresa agrees with Jay on the back. So there's some Apple people in the house. In the house for sure. I do love PC, y'all. I do, but I absolutely am enjoying and appreciating the versatility that I can get with this Mac and with using Ecamm Live. I see an Android all day user in the broadcast. Yes. I got to put you up. Okay. I'll put you up there. I think that's Marcia. All right, so here's our three things, three ways to stand out on Facebook Live. The first is to talk about a topic that matters because not everybody's doing that. So if you can get really laser focused on who your audience is and what are the topics that you can deliver that will be and provide solutions for people who are in your target market and your target video viewing audience, that's going to help you to stand out. Number two is to promote your Facebook Live ahead of time. So make sure that you're doing all the things. And again, you don't have to do all the things. I don't mean hashtag all the things, but pick a couple of strategies that I talked about tonight to help you to really get the word out in advance about your live and what you're going to be talking about. And then the third and final tip was to make sure you're interacting and engaging with your audience because that really is the most important, I think, the most important benefit of going live is that you really are creating conversations with real people. Like, I don't have to make it up that all these people are here in this audience communicating and having conversation and laughing and telling me that they like coffee too and all the things, right? I can do this all day because even as an introvert, so I probably couldn't do it all day because I'd be really drained. But I do love talking about video and I love talking about live streaming and I love talking with you, right? So I literally could talk about the things that I love and I'm passionate about. Think about you. What is it that you love to talk about and you're passionate about that you would talk about on camera that could really reach people because they can really feel that energy and that enthusiasm for whatever your passion is through video. Think about that. And tacos, Carlos Tacos. Look, I'm gonna pop you up and give you some props because that was good. Tacos is always a good topic. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. So I gave you some little brand love right there, Carlos Tacos. Love it. But I think that whatever it is you get passionate about and you're enthusiastic about, whether it's food or pets or relationships or finances or coaching or any of the topics that you love to talk about can really shine through. But it also gives you an opportunity to build that know, like, and trust and to have conversation with people. So use that tool, use the interaction and engagement that you get to have to really get up close and personal and to get to know your audience. One of the most effective ways that I've been able to build my audience over the last couple of years, especially, is through live streaming on Facebook and having conversations with people in the comments. That's how it led to me building community. That's how it led to me building my academy. And I'm continuing to build and grow in all the different spaces where I play because of live streaming. And it all started with Facebook Live. So I hope I've kind of given you something to think about. If you were struggling and you weren't quite sure, yes, exactly. And Teresa, you are so right. So Teresa is a fellow introvert. We can interact for a while and then respectfully tap out when folks get overwhelming. It's true. Yes, because look, after I get done with my lives every week, I'm pretty sleepy. I'm a little tired. And to be honest with you, I hardly ever get any work done afterwards. So I have to get all my work done and try to have all my conversations and meetings and coaching before my live. Because while I love it, as an introvert, it can be draining, but in a good way, right? I just need to go and re energize a little bit. Battery charge. I love it. Well, look, I hope this has been helpful to you. I know that some of you have enjoyed the switching of the cameras and all the different things we've been doing this time around. And I'll just remind you again, we've been using Ecamm Live with our Restream. Restream has been helpful for, or is useful if you're pairing it up with Ecamm to be able to do multi-streaming so that you can stream into multiple places at once. So both of those are recommendations of mine if you're looking, right? And someone asked earlier about PC. So again, I would say StreamYard is great. Restream is great. Melon app is great as well. Any of those could be useful for you. I do see, ah, if only I am an educator. This has been good. Thank you. Thank you. Let me put some of these comments into our little comment feed so you can see the comments scrolling up. I love it. I love it. Let me answer your question too, Jay. Hey, Tanya, quick question. While you're using the Ecamm, are you using Stream Deck with this as well? Actually, I have my Stream Deck up, but I haven't done a thing with it. I haven't. Now, I could, and I know a lot of people that do. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Stream Deck is a device that you can purchase, but you don't have to. But it's a device you can purchase that helps with ease and convenience. Okay, so if you want to program the different buttons on your Stream Deck to do certain actions for you, like it could turn on my lights, my ambiance lights that you see in the back that are pink. It could turn that on. It could turn on all my stuff. As a matter of fact, if it's connected to the Stream Deck, there's a button that I can press and it could turn on all the lights and get me ready. And it could also start my live stream for me in Ecamm. It could do the little crazy sounds and things that I've been doing, right? It could turn on music for me. It could applaud for me. It could do, let me show you this one. It could do confetti. It can do all the things, right? But I am not using that in this moment, Jay, because I am just kind of playing around with different buttons on my screen and I'm just using my mouse click. So, Stream Deck is nice for a lot of people because of the convenience of programming the buttons, but you don't have to have it. And that's really what I teach when it comes to my different programs and coaching is work with what you have, and then upgrade and escalate and elevate as you need to and as you want to, like as you grow. She said, "Oh my God." I think you're saying, "Oh my God," over my confetti, maybe. Look, because sometimes buying all these gadgets and devices can be just plain old hype. You don't necessarily have to have them, right? They're nice twos, but they're not have twos. Yeah, I'm switching with ease. Okay, because of what I shared earlier. When you are familiar with your platform, when you take the time to study what you're using, whatever streaming platform you're using, you can start to engage with people, interact with people, and manage it all. And even if you can't, one of the things that you can do, like I said, is to hire someone to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to hire myself out to be a remote video producer for people who are choosing to have me in the background. Like, I'm not going to be on camera with them, but I'll be behind the scenes helping to manage their stream for them. So if that's something that's of interest for you and you need it, let me know. Yes, it's about the practice. If you practice and you really get familiar with your dashboard, you'll know what to do. You'll be able to go straight to all these things. And guess what that will do? It will make you lots and lots of this. Yes, I know. It's cool, huh? So these are things that you can do when you have something like a eCam. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of play with it and show you the power of eCam so that you have some ideas. Ooh, this is a great question from Carlos Tacos. Let's see. Can I use eCam with my iPad Pro or iPhone 11? As a matter of fact, that's a really great question, Carlos. So I'm going to show you something real quick. I have an iPad. And because I have my iPhone connected to Camo Studio right now so that I can do this and switch up my camera scenes, I can't show you my exact iPhone setup, but I'm going to show you real quick what I can do with my iPad. And I'm using eCam to do this. So let me switch back here. I'm going to switch to an iPad scene. But first, let me make sure I log in. Okay, so I'm going to switch to an iPad scene. This is something that I can do, right? And I have my little Apple Pencil. Yes, Apple. Sandra says, show me the money. That's funny. So I can start writing right here, which I've been doing a lot lately is, let me just do this. I'm going to change it to a pen or pencil, and I'm going to say, I love eCam. Right? And so you can see me writing on the screen. How cool is that? So I'm using my iPad actually to do that. And with the iPhone, you know how sometimes people will want to share their iPhone so that they can share, for instance, how to do something, how to take steps to create a reel, for instance. You can do that very easily by just connecting your Mac computer to your iPhone, and it automatically screen shares into eCam Live screen. There's just a lot of different things that you can do with it. Now, can you use eCam specifically just with your iPad and not a desktop? I don't know about that. I'll find out for you though, Carlos, and I'll come back to you and answer because I think you're on YouTube. So I'll come back and find your comment and I'll try to answer you. I just need to find out because I've just started using eCam recently. It's been added to my arsenal of live streaming tools. Yes. Okay, so we'll find out the answer for you on that. But yeah, you can do a lot of really fun things with it. And that's why I wanted to play with it tonight to just kind of show you some of the things that I've already learned and what's possible. But ultimately, our topic was about Facebook Live. And notice I'm on Facebook Live right now, but I'm also on a number of other spaces. And I'm doing all these fun things because I've learned how to be more confident on live. I've learned how to manage the platform that I want to use. I've gotten familiar with it. I'm learning how to create a content strategy that's going to be relevant to the audience, and I know who my audience is. These are the things that if you don't know the answers to those questions or to those, you don't know those different concepts and how they apply to you, these are the things that I teach. And these are the things that I coach my clients about. So, yeah. Okay, Carlos, one more comment from you. I am the Mac, but I don't own a Mac. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with Carlos Tacos for tonight. Although you are pretty hilarious. So I love that you were here. That was funny. All right, y'all. We are over time because usually I try to be on just for about 30 minutes or so, but I do love answering questions. And here's another tip about Facebook Live, y'all. Even though the recommended timing is about 10 to 15, actually, it's 15 to 20 minutes. The recommended timing for your lives is 15 to 20 minutes. What I will tell you is that the longer you go live, the more engagement you get. And I can clearly see this in my own numbers. I can see it on with the people who are watching, the people that are popping in and out. And the more engagement you get, the more of an opportunity you have to really create a connection with that person on the other end. You're so very welcome. So I just want you to kind of think about that and how can you mix up content and have some short form content as well as some of the longer streams where you're engaging with people and answering questions and just having fun. I have fun with these now. I know some people, especially on YouTube, are like, get to the point. But I absolutely love doing streams because I like having these discussions with you all. I like joking around. I like sharing the different tools and things that I'm finding, right? It's fun. It's like a breath of fresh air, especially considering that so many people are so serious, taking life so serious these days. It's nice to just be able to breathe and just have a discussion and relax and still share something of value. So I hope you got something of value tonight. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you'll come back next week. And we'll probably be a little shorter than we were this week, but I absolutely love that's how Teresa. Teresa got you, Carlos. That's how you end up with the return of the Mac. That's too funny. Y'all, you're so welcome. I appreciate you too. Thank you for showing up. And I hope to see you next time in the stream. I am Tanya Smith, and you can find me at streamlikeaboss.org. You can also find me at Get Noticed with Video, which is our primary umbrella for all of our things, right? But look us up, get connected, stay connected, and I hope to see you next week in our stream on Thursday night. All right, take care and stay safe, everybody, all right?